Just a man on a mission, ambition to never fail. Personality electric, he is animated male. Intelligent and wise, calm and often cool. Chris James giving opinions while also speaking the truth. Empathy and compassion. Stephen Michael is here, helping you through your traumas, helping you with your fears. These three forces combine and keep it honest. Turn up the volume, cause this is the application of knowledge.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry, I forgot. Gentlemen and gentlemen. It's just like a, it's like a thing when you're on stage. This is the Application of Knowledge podcast, episode 46. And yeah, man, we have a wild week. I feel like this past week was wild.
Seemed pretty normal to me.
Well, if you're on social media,
okay.
you would see it was wild.
Past week didn't even exist for me. Time just disappeared.
It just moved. Time just moved. But I know you guys aren't in the Smash community, but there's a lot of stuff happening in the Smash world, video gaming world. And then obviously we know about Ye. You know what I mean?
I know a little bit, but
you know a little bit about Ye?
I know what you told me.
That's it? That's all you know?
That's it.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I don't get the, man, news don't reach me no more, man.
That's good, man.
Sounds like they kind of people aren't actually repeating what he said though.
Yeah.
Because even what you said wasn't what he said. Like, yeah.
Did you see it? Did you see the
I saw some of it.
I mean, it was like a 3-hour broadcast.
Ooh, yeah, I don't even know where to watch Alex Jones' podcast.
Yeah, he has his own website, the InfoWars or whatever, and so you have to go directly there. But Elon ended up.
Oh yeah, I did see that. Suspended his account again.
Yeah, I mean, because what Ye was posting, I mean, he was. He wasn't posting anything. I don't think it should have got banned, but he was going ham. Like
It was acceptable. Elon said that he tried to. He said I tried to stop him.
Yeah.
He didn't. He reached out to him, and he kept posting. So it was what did he say? It was for incitement of violence.
Yeah, because he posted a swastika.
Yeah, he's wilding.
Which the swastika is an ancient symbol that has nothing to do with violence per se.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of people saying that as well.
There's a difference between what an origin of something is and what it is seen as today. So, I mean, even though I absolutely agree with you, I would never post one because I understand what people would see it as. So you can't post that and think it's going to be okay because of what its original intent was. So what he posted was a swastika with something mixed, or it was
the Star David.
Oh yeah, sorry. I mean, come on. Like, come on.
He's wild. He's
wild. What do you expect?
Yeah.
You already doubled down on what you said originally about
is that a double or like a quadruple?
No.
I mean, that's like a to the 10th power.
He doubled down with the DEFCON tweet.
Yeah.
And then this one was quadrupling down. Like he's all in. So, I mean, and like I said, it's I like the fact that someone reached out to him. Like Elon reached out and was like, "Yo, you got to stop." And then he continued. So it's like, okay, well, there's consequences.
He even posted a picture of Elon getting sprayed down with like a water hose with his shirt off, showing his body or whatever. And Elon was like, "This is fine." He's like, "This is okay." And then he posted the swastika. He was like, "This is not. Account suspended."
So was it a real picture of Elon?
Yeah, it was a real picture.
He said it doesn't. He said I didn't suspend him because of that picture. He said if anything, it let me know that I need to lose some weight.
Yeah, and so I mean there was and also aside from the Ye situation, they posted, they let those files out about the election, about how they were suppressing.
Oh, the laptop.
Yeah, about Hunter Biden's laptop.
I saw some stuff about that, but I didn't have a chance to.
Man, it was a lot. I mean, it was a lot of stuff.
Did Twitter put it out?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Elon Musk, he put it out.
My man.
And well, he had someone else who was working with him. They put it out, but he was like going live, and it was basically just confirming that everything
is true
that we've been saying is true.
As far as like on the Democratic side, Like they were literally suppressing a lot of like Republican speeches that were talking about the Hunter Biden situation, and the laptop, and then like the New York Post, like even that chick who was like the spokesperson for Trump, her account got banned because she was reporting about the laptop situation. And so to silence her, they banned her.
That's crazy.
Talk about conspiracy, that's not even conspiracy. Talk about suppressing and trying to control the narrative and sway someone toward a particular, audience or whatever. It's just like, man. Like,
Are you familiar with the Watergate scandal?
Watergate, negative.
Okay. So the Watergate scandal was when the Republican Party broke into the Democratic National Convention building, and they basically were trying to rig the Reagan election or steal information. I think it was Nixon or Reagan. I think it was Nixon. I think it was Nixon. They were trying to get information so that they can basically rig the election, but he was already winning anyway, so he didn't have to do it, but they did. And what ended up happening is everybody around him started to go down. Everybody around, started to get caught up. And, he ended up resigning. And it wasn't a really big thing until like years later, because they really then figured out what happened. And to me, this kind of hints to that as well.
It's like history repeating itself.
Yeah, it's a scandal that we're now getting hints and whiffs of it, and a lot of what's happening inside that laptop shows that that Biden is involved with, basically treason. Dealing with China, Ukraine, their money laundering, and all this stuff was being done while he was vice president, and a lot of this stuff was with Hunter as well. So I feel like this is a time where we are living through history, where maybe
we are definitely living through
like
history.
we're living.
Not only this, it's just from the pandemic.
Just everything, but like just this is what this whole thing is what this reminds me of, because in the moment you don't realize how big the cover up is until 15, 20 years later. Someone writes a book and they're like, look at what happened here, like. And then all the stuff comes out, and then it's years later, and people are like, well, I'll talk about it now because I can't be convicted of it, yada, yada, yada. Or someone dies, and they're like, well, we can talk about it now. We're living through history. And it's amazing to me that people it just doesn't register. Like, this dude took his laptop. He's literally was doing coke. He's doing heroin. Like, he's drinking. He's having sex with prostitutes. Like, he takes his laptop.
Bro, he's living life.
He's living life.
He's living life. Like, what is happening?
Like, he takes his laptop to a computer store in Wilmington, Delaware, because it wasn't working and he needed to get it fixed. The computer store fixes the laptop, turns it on, just sees all this stuff on it. And it's like, yo, this is crazy. Right. So then he ends up, I think Hunter never went to pick it up, like, because I think he was high. He didn't know he did it. So he left it there. And then the laptop person was like, this needs to go to somebody. But before he did that, he made a copy of it, right? Sent it to the FBI. The FBI basically buries it. Buries it. And then somehow the New York Post gets a hold of it. But then the New York Post is like, oh, this is Russian disinformation, yada, yada, yada. Because the FBI reaches out to Zuckerberg and, all of them.
It all ties in.
Right. So they reach out to him and say, well, this is all going to be lies. Don't believe anything comes out. Just like Russia tried to rig the Trump election. They're trying to mess things up with this election. And all this came out like 3 weeks before the actual election where Biden won. So it's just like when you look at things and you look at a courtroom and the law system, they always need to show motive. Like, what was the point of doing this? If there's no motive, it's very hard to convict somebody being guilty. Unless there's just damning evidence, right? But to me, you see motive, right? This is a story that comes out 3 weeks before Biden is supposed to go into the election where he potentially could win. Obviously, he did. And it was so close that if this would have came out that he was involved in all these dealings and money laundering and all this stuff with his son, then obviously he wouldn't have won, right? So it's just like, it makes sense You know what I'm saying? There's motive to cover this up. And I'm glad that it's coming out. And I hope that people, it doesn't take 10, 20 years for people to see the gravity of what's actually happening right now.
It will.
You think it'll take that long for people to?
They'll never see it. Just like Steve said, somebody will write a book. They'll do a deep dive. By the time the information comes out in a format that's digestible enough for people to feel some kind of way about, it'll be 10, 20 years later.
Biden
No
will
one
be
will
dead.
care.
But do you think now that the information is out there and it's still getting expunged, do you think that something should happen to Biden's presidency? Or can something happen? Could like some kind of impeachment happen? Because it wasn't like a fair and square, legit type of situation.
They can't impeach him for stealing the election. Like the people, I mean, now there's a ton of things that happened that, there's, they did the mail-in ballots, yada, yada, yada. They did the same thing on the midterms. And they won that by running under the guidelines. You know what I'm saying? Running under those guidelines when we were on lockdown. So what they tried to do in the midterms was basically say, let's nix these guidelines because we're not under lockdown. We're normal now. But they still were. So all the people were mailing in ballots, yada, yada, yada. It was a whole mess. So I think that what will end up happening is I think that it's going to take time. And by the time the next, 2024 rolls around, where it will be time to vote again, I mean, by then, I think that it would be enough information for people to be like, well, nah.
Biden should be up there.
Yeah, I mean, they're already, even his own Democrats, before he even said I'm running, he hadn't even said I'm running, but they're already, even his own people are like, we don't want him to run, which is very rare.
Bruh, he's not. Is he gonna make it to 2020?
For real.
I don't know. People, they're saying that he may not even make it through this term.
Like he's really messed up. I don't know that I've seen anybody that's in the public light at that magnitude that messed up. Like clearly, his wits are gone.
Yeah.
Like his cognitive functions is like it's like it's literally it's breaking down in front of the public, in front of us and everything. So it's like, has a president not gone for a second term? Like
Trump?
But no. He tried not like get voted in, but like
Just not tried.
yeah, just not try to go one time and be like, you know what, I'm good.
I'm sure it's happened. Just like I was talking about Nixon, he resigned. So I believe he won and then immediately resigned.
Did Nixon get shot?
No.
Only one president. Well, two.
Kennedy?
Two
I
presidents.
thought he got shot, but he didn't die.
Nah, Nixon resigned because of Watergate.
Or maybe I'm thinking.
Let me just make
somebody
sure.
else.
Lincoln and
Sure it was Nixon. Pretty sure it was
no,
Nixon.
I'm saying Lincoln.
No, because I was just reading this book, Malcolm Gladwell, and he was talking about how he got shot. Well, it's like 6 people got shot. They necessarily died, but they just got shot and almost pierced his heart, whatever.
The president?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I literally just read the book.
Lincoln and Kennedy are the only ones I know.
They didn't get killed. He didn't get killed, but he got shot.
He got shot while he was the president? It was like an assassination attempt?
Yeah, and it was like 6 people got shot. It didn't kill him. He's still alive. He still lived, but it almost.
He's still alive now?
Not that. If he's still alive now, they got some extra stuff
He has
out
the
there.
Fountain of Youth on something.
Yeah.
And it says Lincoln, McKinley, Garfield, Kennedy, Andrew Jackson, Theodore Roosevelt, William Howard Taft. It says John Wilkes Booth, but I don't know. Maybe this list isn't
These are the ones that got murdered.
who have been shot.
Oh, okay.
Oh wait. Oh no, Theodore Roosevelt and Ronald Reagan.
Maybe Reagan
Maybe
was with
I'm
Watergate.
thinking-
I
Oh,
don't
and
know.
Kennedy.
You already said that, didn't
Yeah, there wasn't a
you?
lot.
They've all been shot while presidents?
I didn't go. I mean, I just
Just a quick look.
How many,
just a
how
quick
many
look.
presidents took a bullet?
How many presidents taking shots out here, man? No chaser. Taking shots.
it's
no
gonna
chaser.
it's gonna take too long. They
Nah,
give
it's
me
not good.
I don't think the list is that extensive.
I'm getting. There's a difference between getting shot and then getting assassinated, and they're just giving me a lot of assassinations and a lot of assassination attempts. You can be attempted to be assassinated and not get hit.
Right.
So, but I'm saying
That used to be a thing back in the day. Like, I remember watching TV and seeing people from other nations come and doing speeches, their bodyguards, and
Korea.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was a lot of it was just a thing. Like, yeah, people be trying to assassinate. It's all BS. So.
Kennedy, Roosevelt, Reagan. So that was the list. The list I gave you originally was who got shot.
The ones who got.
Kennedy, Roosevelt, Reagan.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully there's never going to be any more assassinations. But when I hear about assassinations, I think about like some of the more recent situations that happened with presidents. Remember with George Bush's president?
They threw a shoe at him?
Dude was throwing shoes.
Is that an assassination?
I mean, it's an attack.
Because the way that they classify things, like even a knifing could be considered a shooting because of how they classify stuff. So I'm just asking, like, who knows?
That's probably considered an assault.
You think that he got like that's a federal offense, right?
Something.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah,
he threw
That's
shoes
federal
at president.
assault.
Yeah.
But he wasn't in America though, was he? I thought
It don't matter.
Yeah,
Yeah. He's throwing shoes at presidents now.
That's crazy.
Like,
yeah,
how?
you assault on the federal level.
It's like how much anger, that's like, I wish I was like had more knowledge of politics back then so I can understand what
I was
was
messing
the
with Bush back then.
initial reaction of why, like,
That's Debbie.
oh,
Yeah.
because he was giving out stimulus.
They weren't. It was a form of stimulus, but he was extending unemployment.
Oh
And
yeah,
I
I know y'all were going ham on that.
He did give out a stimmy.
Did he?
Yes, he did.
I don't remember
I
that.
think I got a stimmy,
Bush, he did like a couple $100.
I don't think so. I ain't never.
serious?
I don't
but it
think-
come
not-
back. It always come back in some form to bite us.
Of course.
In some
Look
form
at our
or fashion.
inflation right now.
Yes, that's what I'll be thinking.
You
Like,
think
We
the
paid that little stimulus that we got. Well, the ones that we got. Listen, in the moment, in the time, it was
that
like,
was good.
yo,
I'm good.
right? But then now,
Then you
it's
go
just
to the
like,
store, all these damn prices is,
oh, they got their money back and some,
man.
and it ain't going nowhere.
I think that's just the new normal.
Well, it'll
eventually-
it'll go down.
but
Bush signed the Economic Stimulus Act in 2008 to alleviate the effects and stave off the recession.
Okay, did we get a stimulus check?
It was $600. I don't know how y'all don't remember this.
we in a recession now, but they just won't publicly say it.
What do you mean?
Like everything as far as like
I may not have been working.
I mean, you was on,
I was on unemployment.
so you still probably would have got it on your taxes or something.
Interesting.
I mean, but if you just look at all the inflation and I guess the housing markets and the prices of everything, it's literally like all these financial experts, they speak about it, how we are in a recession, but they just won't say it.
It's just.
I have heard they're like basically ignoring it. But what is a recession really though? Because people are still spending right now.
The definition of a recession is 2 consecutive quarters of negative GDP growth.
That's very specific.
That's the definition.
What's GDP mean?
I don't know.
Okay, I mean, if you give me acronyms, I don't know. I'm gonna ask.
It is. It's
Gross domestic production.
yeah, something like that, man. It's gross.
Goku, Dende, Piccolo.
Listen, you ain't asked me. I gave you the definition of GDP.
Yeah, I mean,
Measures the monetary value of final goods and services.
I might be
Gross domestic product. There you go.
Ooh,
gross domestic what?
Product.
Okay.
I said production. That's pretty close.
Close. Almost. Yeah.
Yeah,
I have the
said-
definition though, but you asked me for a definition inside the definition.
No, he just.
I knew what it meant. I just didn't know the definition.
Hey man, you are a local resident. You're
Financial- or
a political
analyst.
analyst. Yeah, he's our political analyst.
You are our.
I guess I would be.
You are,
Everyone has a role.
You are our Candace Owen.
Yeah. Hey,
I'll take that.
We can get our Candace Owens on the
Except
show.
except that Mel has more information on culture than me.
Mel
Culture?
can be a political pundit. There you go.
And Woody, you can be
I'm like.
no, he could be he's like what's the dude?
He's Biden.
No.
Wow.
The dude,
Oh,
the
wow.
dude who's like the host for COVID, the scientist.
Fauci?
Yeah, Fauci. You would be, but like the good Fauci. You would be like the
No such
good
thing as
Fauci.
Fauci.
The good Fauci.
Yeah, I mean that's our political.
I heard Fauci needs to go to jail, but he'd be running. He's not on TV.
he be running.
He's not on TV anymore.
He'd be on the run.
Hey man, he got to get out while things getting hot. He's like, oh, it's getting hot over here, man.
getting hot.
They found out the C-19 was all a little, you know what I
Bruh,
mean?
they are all.
GP9.
It's just so crazy. Like, I was just talking to somebody the other day, and it was just like all this stuff that is out, and it's bad. Like, with them finding all of the blood clots or whatever they're finding inside of people's bodies.
Oh, there's this
Blood clot.
There's this thing that they have on Twitter. It's like hashtag suddenly died.
Yeah. Oh, it's a hashtag.
And it's also like a page where they're keeping track of where people are talking about he suddenly died, she suddenly died. And all of these people are people who get the shot.
You got the
These are people who got the shot.
Yeah.
That is insane.
I mean, it's the fact that it's taken. If you look at any one of those shots that were developed, I mean, they range from, I think the shortest one was maybe 10 to 12 years, something like that, up to like, I don't know, polio or something was like 50 years. And then all of a sudden, they were able to do this in like 9 months. Mm-hmm. And it was going to be safe and effective, like yada, yada, yada. It's like, does that not ring a bell? Like, does that not set off an alarm in someone's head?
Yeah,
like
to connect the dots.
like you weren't able to do this. At the least, the fastest you could do this was like 10 to 12 years, and then all of a sudden, oh well, we're able to do it in 9 months.
Well, let's be honest.
And y'all believe that?
The reality is this drug, whatever they were doing, has been in development for probably 20 years.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
it's actually started like 2002
It just
or
it
something.
probably had a
Yeah.
different outcome than what they're saying it was supposed to do. What they created it for is doing
Is what it's
exactly what it's
doing, yeah.
supposed to do.
Well, that's true.
Right.
It's
'cause-
just people who've taken it, they've been misled.
That's
yeah.
true.
Because there's actually information out there now that you can look up yourself that's saying that all the deaths that happened during this pandemic situation was because of the shot.
I believe it.
I'm just like,
Well,
oh,
I know that one of the doctors that we're affiliated with said that she became familiar with the technology that they used for the jab, and that was decades ago, 2 decades, decade and a half ago. I wonder if Kanye loves Fauci. I'm just like he said he loves everybody. I'm just curious if Fauci's on that list.
oh yeah. You know what?
Oh.
When
That's what Kanye actually said.
when he says that he loves everybody, I understand exactly what
Yeah,
he's saying.
it's very obvious what he's saying.
But you know what? The Ye situation is a tricky one because I understand everything he's saying. I'm not a church thumper or Bible thumper or whatever. So, but in the Bible, they say love your enemies and all that stuff. And one thing that I see about Ye is that like he is acting a little bit, I guess, more sporadic, but also you have to keep in mind that he has a finalized divorce. You
So
know,
you think he did some?
finalized?
yeah, and now he has to pay what, 200,000? Well, no, 2 million. Hold on,
You gotta
how much-
pay her?
It's 1.2 a year,
Yeah,
Wait, wait.
right?
Does he make more than her?
Or is it 2.4?
yes, it'll be 2.4 if it's 200,000 a month.
In what, alimony or
Child
child support?
Child support.
$200,000
$200,000
a month. I see. Here's the thing. I understand.
Before you get into your the child
Soliloquy.
support part, let's I just want to focus on Ye as far as
It is about yay.
okay.
No, go ahead. No.
But like that's just he has a lot of stress going on. So when he's going on Alex Jones and all these different platforms, and he's talking about Hitler, and he's talking about posting swastikas and stuff, you can see why maybe he was just on a platform where he's just wilding or he's expressing himself, and a lot of things that he said, I don't necessarily disagree with. It's just in the way that he goes about it, and a lot of people, they can't compartmentalize, they can't compartmentalize where they can't separate what he's saying from something that's very impactful because his message is everywhere. Like he would be saying something that's really good, but then he'll go off on a tangent and be like, I love Hitler, I love everybody. And if you hear that, you know the history that that Hitler has, you just like, oh, ignore everything else that he said. We're gonna hone in and focus on this particular thing and ignore all the other facts that he's speaking about, So with the Ye situation, it's like, man, because a lot of things that he says isn't necessarily false. He speaks on the inventions and things that he created, Hitler that he created and things that he's done, because he said, he's like, I like Hitler, because he spoke about a lot of the inventions and a lot of good things that he did and says that he loves him. And people hear that, they're not going to agree with that. But also, they should just research a lot of things that America has implemented were taken from them.
So then, if people are that up in arms about Hitler's, we should denounce everything any impact that he's had on our modern society.
That would make sense.
Like that's just like if you don't mess with Steve Jobs, you should not mess with any Apple product. Right. Like if Steve Jobs tried to commit genocide against somebody, then you should not mess with any of them. But the reality is that's not how it goes, because as soon as they find out, oh wait, Hitler has something to do with like engines and cars, or gasoline, or food production, now all of a sudden it's like, well, he shouldn't have tried to kill our own people though.
I mean, so much of military technology comes from the scientists that they took after the war.
Yeah, all NASA that people love so much.
I mean, NASA, pretty much the entire program is founded by Nazi Jews or Nazi scientists. So, I mean, and what do you think the space? People don't know this, but Hitler basically had spaceships. They weren't, but it was the V-2 rocket. So it was the long-range rocket that he was developing so he can bomb the British or England, whatever, and it's a spaceship basically. Like this is where the design
technology came from,
right? And we went over after the war, and I think it was just over 1,000 scientists, biochemists. I mean, anyone that had anything to do, and they didn't take just everybody. They took the best of the best,
creme de la creme,
the creme de la creme.
Cream rises to the top.
There was a woman on Joe Rogan she wrote a book on it. I forget her name, but it was about Operation Paperclip, and she was talking about how she met with one of the top guys' sons, and just explaining how evil he was. Like his son was like, he was just evil, and he was working in America. Like,
all right. So where do we get off denouncing people for saying anything about Hitler when we are benefiting from the research and the things that
our medical research, all these cures and all this stuff? I hate to say it, but it came from them experimenting during that time. Like, war is ugly. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's ugly, but there's a reason that rich people like wars, because it creates money, it advances technology in the medical field, in the military field, agricultural. Like, I mean, in the 1700s, when they were having wars, that's where potatoes became a big thing, because they were killing all the crops, and they were like, what are we gonna eat? So that's why, like in like Ireland, over in that area, they started planting potatoes, and they were like, oh, we can survive on these. And then potatoes became a really big thing. Like, that's why we eat so many potatoes now.
Man, I'm about to stop eating potatoes.
Everything seems to be harmful for.
Well, now their potatoes back then were different from ours.
Yeah,
they ate literally potatoes, bread. Like, I mean, everything was grain.
It reminds me of Attack on Titan when he's talking about potatoes and war.
I mean, they take a potato out the bag.
Gubby.
Just eat a potato, like.
Just raw potato?
I mean,
just bite it like an apple.
Their potatoes back then were different. Or they would cook them, and then after that they just take them with them. They were just cold. They did the same thing in the war against China and Japan. Like, they just ate cold potatoes. That's what they ate.
You ever eat like tomatoes Just like walking down the street, just chilling, eating on tomatoes.
When I was younger, I did.
You ever do that?
I mean, I always slice them first.
Man, I could never do that.
Too much juice in your mouth.
Yeah, you get that.
No, I'm just like, L, it's a tomato. Why are you eating a tomato? It was this kid named Isaac. I'm like, bro, what are you eating? I'm eating tomato. I'm just like, that is nasty.
Tomatoes are delicious.
But
what are you talking
as
about?
I got older, and I was like, you know what? Let me try this. And I bit into it. I was like, you know what? This actually isn't. I mean, I wouldn't just do it, but it's not detestable.
I would prefer to have it sliced. If you give me a tomato and say you got to eat this, my initial thing is I'd rather slice it, throw a little salt and pepper on it. You know what I'm saying? Boom.
Yeah, I mean, for the purposes of making a little medley out of it, you get a little onion, get a little cilantro, maybe some
You don't like salt and pepper on your onion?
jalapeno.
On my onion?
Or on your tomato?
I don't really eat tomatoes whole,
Oh,
but if it's like sliced
that's what I'm saying.
and mixed with other stuff,
No, just myself.
nah, I don't just eat tomatoes by
If you
itself.
had to eat a tomato by itself, what would be your preferred method?
I would just eat it.
You just bite into it.
Yeah.
You don't think that it would be more palatable to slice it and then season it?
I don't know. I haven't tried it.
You've never eaten
I haven't-
sliced tomato.
That's so weird.
I've never just eaten a tomato. It's always been either on a sandwich, part of a salad, just never by itself. It's never been something I've done. It's never been a thought. Like when I saw someone do it, it was.
What
just,
about cucumbers? Sliced up cucumbers and ate them?
I've never really was a fan of cucumbers like that. I didn't really like the taste.
So
of
you
it.
that's just not what you do. Because
Yeah,
like
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I've never done
John
it.
used to do the cucumbers. He would go hard with different little blends and stuff. I remember one time this dude put together a blend. It made the cucumber taste like a pickle. It was like lemon pepper and something else, maybe sea salt and maybe something else. But I was like, bro, this literally tastes like a pickle, like a really crunchy pickle. Which it obviously is, but you don't got to actually pickle it to get that vibe.
I've never experimented eating different type of vegetables or
Oh,
fruits.
you sure don't. You
I
do the
just
same thing.
yeah. The thing is, I'm satisfied with that. I can eat
There's
something for a
nothing wrong
whole
with that.
year as long as it's good. You know, there's some foods where I would get tired of, like when I used to work at like fast food restaurants and I would eat some of that stuff. I would get tired of it. But when it comes to dishes that I make,
Mel got about 3 dishes.
yeah, this is like, you know what? I don't have to put too much thought into it. I'm just ready. I'm good.
You know what? Is it that your dishes have essentially the same elements or seasoning, like because
They're
or
typically
are they the
different.
same dishes? Because I don't be like,
You don't be like, what? I won't be eating it that much.
you know what I'm saying?
I won't be digging in too hard, but
I'm saying like, so sometimes I'll smell it right, and then sometimes it'll smell a little different. I see it, I'm like, it's the same dish.
it'll be the same dish, but I'll try different ingredients.
He got different ingredients. It's a
you-
one pot thing. But he has different dishes though. You just talking about his one pot.
I mean, that's
Yeah, I mean, that's probably what he always
That's what
sees.
you're talking about. Him. He was making quesadillas not too long ago. That was like his thing.
Yeah, like the thing is,
tacos.
because I would want to,
see those
I want to change the taste, or I want to change the, because I'll get different ideas if I see someone post something on Instagram. I'm like, man, okay, I'm gonna try something different, or I'll take one of, because I have a habit of just, man, I want everything and everything, you know, but sometimes I need to take out an ingredient and then allow one other ingredient to be more vibrant within the dish or whatever, you know, more like this one I just made is more tomato-y, you know, it has that scent in it versus when I would make something that's a little bit more sweeter. I don't know, you know, it's just,
I mean,
And
I see
also
what you're saying.
textures too. Like
Yeah.
when you do one pot, and this is just me, like I like to change it up to where they're all not the same texture. So I'll put my vegetables in at different times. You know, usually lately I've been doing my broccoli later so that it doesn't get as soft. I'll put my carrots in there first and my, you know, maybe potatoes, and then I'll choose certain vegetables to be crunchy, like the sugar peas, snap peas, and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
I like to experiment. Like I would use, I've been using like rice vinegar, and also I have like this balsamic vinegar that I use, and it changes the taste of it. And like, cause initially you put it in there like, oh man, this vinegar is super strong, but as it cooks, like, oh man, okay, this
Chemistry, man.
this bad boy is starting to taste a little better, you know. So yeah, I'll make the same dish, but I'll just experiment with some of the ingredients. But the base initial concept of it is the same, you know.
Okay.
I got so many dishes. I made a tomato sandwich last night.
Tomato sandwich.
That's why I just can't believe you don't eat tomato like that. But
I can't either. I was gonna ask you about a BLT, but then I'm like, I don't think he ever ate pork or maybe turkey bacon. You ever had a BLT?
pork chops.
Nah. I would see. I used to work at Arby's, and like we used to have that, and I didn't understand. So
Okay, you've never. You're vegan, right? You've never had bread, toasted, a little mayo or some sort of spread, tomato, salt and pepper sandwich.
You know what's funny? I've never really used like condiments, like mayonnaise or whatever,
Okay, like
on my sandwiches. So typically they would be dry to people.
No, I ain't no two people.
yeah,
dry.
that's dry.
Dry.
But but I would use, sometimes I use mustard or
Okay,
but
you never made that sandwich before?
nah, not a BLT.
Really?
Tomato doesn't need mayo though, because tomato's so wet.
Nah, man, nah. It's the mayo.
The thing is, I've never been a fan of tomatoes like
Give
that.
a little good. You use tomatoes in almost every one of your dishes.
I said I didn't used to, like, for sandwiches. Like
I was talking about now.
now I'll just now I don't really
You should try
So he
it.
basically tell you to try it.
You should try it.
try
Toast-
what.
Just
Toast.
toast your bread.
Uh-huh.
If you like a spread, maybe mustard, whatever, maybe not. It's up to you. And then tomato.
Just bread and
Little salt and
tomato.
pepper. I mean,
Man, don't make that face. It's delicious. I would season it. So if you're gonna, I would do like a vegan spread. You do a vegan spread and see. I use season all, but I make my own. I don't trust them. I make my own season all. Salt and smoked paprika and stuff, and then you just put it on there.
gotta toast the bread though.
And also, lettuce is good too with it.
I mean,
You can do
yeah,
lettuce.
for
Yeah,
sure.
lettuce would be great too. But I mean, even just tomato.
Yeah,
A tomato sandwich. It's
I'm not gonna say it's bad, but typically when I make sandwiches, I know I'm a little weird. So just understand this.
We know that.
Y'all didn't first of all, y'all didn't have to just agree like, yo, yeah, you are a little weird. But this is what I do. I would get a sandwich.
Here we go.
I would put tomato on it.
Uh-oh.
But when I get ready to eat it,
You take it off.
I take the tomato
Wow.
off. And then I'll eat it. Because I don't, like, I would try, but then I would just, like, take this off. I just take it off. I just naturally take it off.
So the concept of eating a tomato sandwich is just like that doesn't even,
It's like, how was you ever poor and you didn't eat tomato sandwiches?
We never had tomatoes in our crib. We just never had tomatoes at home.
But you had mayonnaise sandwiches or something?
Nah. I used to eat bologna sandwiches or turkey
You
sandwiches.
didn't use mayonnaise?
Nah.
Miracle Whip?
Nah. I never liked the taste of it.
Miracle Whip or mayonnaise?
I never, no.
Really?
I never liked the taste
People
of it.
usually are one or the other, not neither.
What about on your fish fillet, tartar sauce? Tartar sauce?
Yeah.
I would take tartar sauce off.
Oh man.
Mel don't mess with no.
Yeah,
Oh,
I didn't
nah,
really
you don't
like
mess.
tartar sauce like
You don't mess with none of that white creamy sauce.
Wow.
mustard. I like mustard.
I mean,
love
mustard-
mustard.
ain't nothing-
Like when I would get fish sandwiches,
Mustard
or
on a
if it
Filet-O-Fish?
is, if it's like tartar sauce, it can't be a lot of it. It has to be like a
Just a hint.
little bit. Can't be too much. I am very particular and picky when it comes to what I eat and sauces and everything, man. So that's why if I like something, I can consistently eat it.
Yeah.
I don't need something to be different every
Variety.
time. You know what I mean? I can go a year, same dish, I'm good. You know.
I think that's a good thing though. Like there's because you talk about habits and stuff, and if you get into a habit of making something good, and it's healthy for you, like it works for your body, then that's good. A lot of people need variety, or and I won't even say that they need variety, but a lot of people give into that craving or that impulse where they have a taste for something, and when you have a taste for something, it's not actual hunger, right? It's just you. It's an emotion that you are trying to deal with that is causing you to go to something that you'd use it to cope with an emotion that you had dealt with before. So sometimes if people are feeling, I don't know, sad, right? They may have a taste for ice cream. They'll be like, oh, I just want some ice cream all of a sudden.
I like ice cream
I mean,
and milkshakes. I like milkshakes too.
right? I mean,
When was the last time you had a milkshake?
Oh, I mean, sometime this year. I can't really say because they have at Spiral.
Oh, okay.
They have like milkshakes at Spiral, which is pretty good. You ever been to
Have
Spiral?
once we should go.
Have you had my milkshake? Were you ever eaten? You unlucky.
Oh, I'm missing out.
You unlucky. Mel, I've made Mel taste.
Yeah, Chris be making me try something. I'd be like, nah, I'm good. He'd be like, I'd be like, all right.
Bro,
you gonna have some of
they're
this.
good. John's had them. My milkshakes be on point.
You know, there's a lot of vegan restaurants in Fort Worth. Like, since
Are there?
More like new.
yeah,
Oh, vegan.
yeah, because I've been looking at, I've been wanting to try different stuff or try different vegan dishes and just
Be careful with that.
oh, trust me, I'm not like going ham with all these processed foods.
Man, they go
You know,
crazy.
because I mean, I'm good at weaning out and picking stuff because I'll see
Yeah.
people suggesting stuff and I'm like, because I'm in a lot of vegan groups on Facebook, and a lot of people post out.
What's the point? You don't try their food.
Well, no, it just gives me ideas because some
I'm just
people,
I'm messing with you.
yeah, yeah. Well, some people they'll post things that give me good ideas. I'm like, okay, cool. But then they'll post like Beyond Meat and they'll post out. I'm just like, I be wanting to say something, but I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna let y'all
It's
do
a
y'all.
wrap, bro. It's a wrap.
You know, the funny thing is, it was impossible. So I'm sure Beyond falls in the same category. But I was listening to a scientist and he was talking about how they gave rats Impossible meat for, I don't know, it was like a few years, and they ended up getting sick and dying. Where their converse, where they had separate set of rats, were given a basically a whole food rat diet, which was still basically, it was processed, but it was like processed food. It was dry and it was rat pellets, and they were healthy. But the rats gained weight, and then they ended up dying.
Yo, if y'all think
Specifically eating Impossible burgers. Impossible meat.
specifically, because there's no testing on this crap. You know, well, now we're starting to see some testing, but long-term effects, cancer, and all that stuff, they don't. It's like they don't even do that anymore. But yeah, Impossible Burgers, Beyond Burgers. I know Beyond would probably be better than Impossible. They're all the same.
I don't know what the difference
It
is.
just is. Just egg. They're all the same. You got to eat it like it's like healthy people's McDonald's. Like,
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
exactly how it is. Like you. I mean,
I
you
think
have
that's
it
a good
once in a
way to
while,
categorize it. But some people, a lot of people that are plant-based, they eat it as the norm.
Right.
Like you go. I mean, I've
Slutty
seen
vegans. That's what I call them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've seen people where they've sent me pictures, like clients, where they send me pictures of their refrigerator, their freezer, and they're like, "Yeah, I'm eating real good. I'm eating plant-based." And in the freezer, it's like all this plant-based meat, plant-based sausages, plant-based burgers, Impossible burgers, and just packs and bricks of the meat so they can make spaghetti and tacos and cheesesteaks. Like,
All the same stuff.
it's
they've
just like,
always
bro. I mean, literally, you're better off just eating regular meat.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, you're better off. Just get beef.
Like, bro, like I'll tell people, like, listen, where was Impossible Burger or Beyond Burger 10 years ago? It didn't exist.
Didn't exist.
It didn't
It had to
exist.
be created.
So if we know these things weren't options for us when we were kids and these things were created, well, you know what?
It's not obvious.
It's not obvious.
Science, man. Technology, man.
It's
You
hard
know,
for me to have my mindset and see this stuff and not like drill in on someone and get upset, you know?
I mean, they don't know. People don't know.
They
The masses are being taught that plant-based is healthier.
It's a
period.
new term.
Right. It's a new term, but it's plant-based is healthier. It's healthy no matter what, as long as it's plant-based. So people are like, yeah, I'm eating healthy. I'm eating plant-based. Like, no, you're eating just as bad. It's
probably eating worse.
or
I
worse.
literally just put out a short talking about this. It was a video that we had, repurposed some content talking about eating just bad habits and how people think what they're eating. They'll be like, yeah, I'm eating healthy. And it's like, but are you though? Like you're eating better than what you were eating. Okay, maybe I'll give you that. But are you eating healthy?
It took what 60 years for people to start realizing that the food pyramid was backwards. Like it's not backwards, but it's wrong.
Yeah, it's just trash.
Like it's you at the bottom where we're supposed to be eating the most of is bread, pasta, like wheat,
That's really what it is.
gluten. I mean, all this stuff. Like, why is not vegetables at the bottom?
That'd be the most obvious.
If you got fruits like midway up, and it's just
Yeah.
like, oh, there's sugar. Like, bro. And now, let's just watch the documentary on this. Now they have. I've watched a lot of documentaries.
You've been watching stuff, man.
Yeah, I have. I've known this stuff, but
You've been
it's just,
watching The Sopranos and all.
how you know that?
Because I hear the intro.
Oh, you know it. You've watched it.
We've all watched The
Oh,
Sopranos.
I'm behind. So, well, no,
You're like 50 years behind.
I'm on season 2.
Jeez. Getting caught up?
Yeah, I like that show.
Oh, Sopranos. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that show, man. I forgot what I was saying.
You were talking about the food, the documentary for food.
Yeah, I remember that. I don't remember what I was
So
talking
what's
about
the pyramid look like now? They
It's
got,
yeah. So they realized that it was wrong. They realized because what the reason that all came out was because people were starting to gain weight, and they said, well, it's fat. So there were two different scientists that were kind of going back and forth about the reason for our weight. And the scientist that won, so once again, when you win, you write history. So the scientist that basically won was the more popular one. He was American. And he basically said, well, fats are the reason that we are gaining weight. It makes sense, right? So people are like, oh, that makes sense. There was no internet back then, so people got behind it. So that's why you have fats and oils all the way near the top with sweets. And they said, well, you just need to eat more carbohydrates because that's the energy we run on. So if you eat more carbohydrates, you'll have more energy to do the things that you want to do. It really makes sense.
You get a dude in a lab coat who know information that you don't know. It makes sense to you. Be like, okay, I'm gonna do exactly that.
Think about it in the 50s or 60s, where you just have TV is recent, and you have a guy on TV, and the government is like, hey, listen, right? It's after the World War. We're trying to get everybody healthy. This is what you need to do. It's in all the schools. So then they were indoctrinated. And then, of course, we were then the generation that came after them. And then our generation is now coming after them, and we can see it getting worse and worse. But now they're like, somebody was like, why don't they just change it? And they were like, could you imagine the World Health Organization or the CDC coming out and saying, hey, you know what? We were wrong. Like, this is wrong. And we actually realize what you should be doing, but they're not going to do that.
no, you can't imagine it because they never take accountability for anything. So
Right.
you can't imagine them doing it. However, we expect it in interpersonal relationships. If somebody says XYZ to me, and then a day later we find out that was completely wrong, then it's expected for that person to be like, yo, I was wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Why is it not normal for the government or our agencies to take accountability for things?
If they take
Because
accountability, then they'll lose the trust of the people.
No, they won't. They would gain more trust. People don't trust the government. Like, really. It's the only reason why we think people trust the government is because the narrative is being perpetuated from the media. But people do not. Like, if you talk to 100 people, how many are going to be like, yeah, I fully trust the government? Like, for real, in real life.
I don't necessarily.
You've never asked people?
I've had a conversation with my ex-girlfriend,
Oh my God!
So, okay.
and we were talking about political stuff, laws, and all that stuff. And when you say them, just like, because she comes from a different country,
I was
Well,
going to
that's a
say
whole
that may
different
skew
thing.
her. That
That's a
may
whole
skew
different
her.
thing.
right? So it's like, I obviously I live in America, so I come from her, and she believes in like suppressing people and
Damn.
silencing people and banning people from talking about information that goes against. And I'm just like,
She from China?
it's not. She's from
Communist
Germany.
country.
Oh, well,
She's from Germany.
There you
Well, so I guess it just depends on where you from and how, your political views.
I'm just talking about Americans.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about no other country.
But then you look at the Democratic people.
I have had this conversation with people. I talk to people. I've never had one person. There might have been one person who's just kind of like one of them people that likes to believe the best in everybody and whatever. But other than that, nobody trusts the government that I've talked to.
I don't know. I would say, I mean, I've talked to people outside of my girlfriend. There's people that, that are on the, the Caucasian side.
Are they males and are they one of your friends?
There's a mixture. There's a mixture, females and males or whatever.
Well, let's just say for the most part, the majority of people. You think, I would say that the majority of people don't trust the government. Oh, you disagree?
I would.
Give your opinion.
I mean, I'm disagreeing just based on the interactions that I have. Like, if
You think most people do trust the government?
yeah, if you think about like-minded people or that are like us, obviously they're going to have some, some hesitancies about the government. But a lot of people, they believe in it.
Let's do a poll.
Steve will have to do it because anytime I do a poll, it does nothing. I'm just like,
all right. Well, listen. Maybe people will respond to this. Look, if you believe that the majority of the time the government is doing things in your best interest, put a 1 in the comment section. And if you believe that the government, the majority of the time, is not doing things in your best interest, put a 2.
I think that's better for a chat. Just say if you believe the government is on your side.
Hey,
or
man,
whatever.
just chop it up, man. Make it a reel, man. And then on the reel, they can put 1
Just
or
put
whatever.
it. Just put it in there the way I put it.
All right, we'll get a lot of hate, but I'm with it.
How are we gonna get hate on that?
Oh
I think
man, we
people
get a lot
don't-
of hate.
We do in general,
Matt,
or
he's just looking now that we got.
I'm just looking at. I mean, we got 3 reels that got like 13,000 plus views. 3 of them. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of hate.
I mean, I'm sure they're not. They're just. You're basically Andrew Tating us. I haven't seen the reels, but I'm going to assume you're Andrew Tating us.
What does that mean? What do you mean by that?
Taking a clip from an hour, 2
No.
hour podcast, and yeah.
I mean,
you're paying.
I'm doing it in general.
right. But
you're putting information out there that would appear that would give you the most viewership.
I'm not. I just put
Not
out what I think is.
purposely.
I'm
Not
just
purposely.
thinking out. Okay, what is this? What is the most interesting thing? Like y'all always say that I don't put a lot of stuff that's bad on me, so I'm trying to look for something. That's
how much
bad.
hate are we getting on your videos?
It's not. You know what? The hate.
No. I want to know if you were looking a clip of Steven, a clip of me, and a clip of you, who's getting the most hate
Probably
based on your observation?
I don't know, maybe.
Well, the Black Panther was kind of.
Oh yeah, niggas didn't like me for that.
Okay, what about you though? Are you getting the most hate on any
Well,
of these?
I got hate when I was talking about we need to take kids out of schools. It's just like there was
you got a lot of hate on that.
Yeah, because you got parents that
They-
they're babysitting.
and I'm looking. I'm like, okay.
I don't want to take.
What are y'all talking about? Like y'all not even listening to what the hell is said here. Like y'all ain't even listening. It's just like because they were talking about teachers. This one chick was like, you try being a teacher for a day.
I mean,
I'm just like, nigga, I ain't said nothing about teachers.
I
I ain't said nothing about
What does
teachers.
it have to do with anything?
I said nothing about teachers. I said take the kids out of school, and if anything, I was talking about the government.
here's the I understand why they got upset with your statement because
I don't give a damn. You know what?
Okay.
Motherfuckers who want to hate. I'm with it.
I'm not.
I want all the smoke.
Uh-oh.
Because I'm, you know what? Because I'm tired of being or trying to. I mean, a lot of times when I see the hate, I honestly laugh. I just giggle. I'm like, this shit is funny, you know. But now, like, I'm past that point of just trying. You know what? Okay, nah. You won't smoke. I'm bringing the smoke right back. That's
what the internet does to you.
That's-
It manipulates your soul.
you know.
That's what Twitter
You can't
does.
beat the internet.
That's what Twitter does. I got on Twitter for like 5 minutes. I was like, okay, Elon's taking over. Let me get on Twitter. I got into one feed. I said, I can't do this. This is a cesspool.
It definitely is,
Twitter's
man.
bad,
It's a little. That's why I was like, man, you know, I kind of want to take a little break from social media, man, because I feel like it's tainting me.
Clearly.
Twitter. They said that Elon reported that Twitter activity is up.
Yeah.
Of course it's up.
Yeah, I mean, and people. I mean, I didn't watch the podcast yet, but Candace was talking about the mass exodus of in her podcast of celebrities saying we're leaving.
Oh yeah, Jim
I didn't
Carrey
I didn't watch the podcast, but I know
Jim
that some.
Carrey?
Yeah,
Why? I don't know. That doesn't even make sense.
it would seem to me that Jim Carrey would be the opposite.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I would think as well.
Yeah. So I didn't watch that, but
Did
I mean-
Jim Carrey actually have a real Twitter, or was that as his representative? You know what I'm saying?
he had Twitter because he would post a lot. When Donald Trump was in office, he would post a lot of stuff against Donald Trump.
Okay, but was that him or was it his representative?
No, it was definitely him.
How do you know?
Because he draws, he has art that he posts, and just the way he speaks, like it's him.
I mean,
you
I'm
know,
just asking because Cat Williams and Chappelle didn't have Twitters and they were beefing. So I'm just saying
they were beefing.
they were beefing
were.
on Twitter and they didn't have Twitters. So
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Nah.
But this was like, I don't think they're the representatives. I think they were like fake or something.
Yeah. There's a
right,
lot
that's
of
what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, okay.
yeah. There's a lot of fake accounts, but you know, so
They said they saw each other and they tried to squash it, and they're like, "Bro, what are you talking about?"
He's like he said he went up to Cat Williams. He was like, Cat, I don't have Twitter. He said, I don't either, Dave Chappelle.
I didn't see this.
He's like, what? It was Dave Chappelle told the story.
Oh, okay.
Because from Dave's point of view, it was a thing because Dave was aware of it. Cat Williams wasn't aware of it. So Dave Chappelle just randomly comes up like, look, I just want you to know I don't have a Twitter. He's like, I don't either, Dave Chappelle. What are you talking about?
That would have to be weird to have knowledge of someone talking bad about you. Then you'd be like, hey man, I don't even have this, and they'd be like, I ain't got this either. You know?
Right.
Yeah, I can see that.
Hilarious.
Yeah, that's wild.
So back to Ye,
Yeah.
because this needs to be talked about, bro.
You want what's
Steven wanted to get into.
Yeah, we can.
I don't want to get it.
as far as
wanted
the
to get
child
into his
support.
Child support.
Oh, I mean, that was.
Well, yeah. How do we feel about the child support system? It doesn't necessarily have to be directly toward Ye. I mean, if you want to speak on Ye's situation, we could do that as well. But the child support system is not fair,
It's
and it's a scam.
It's not. I mean, it's set up for women, particularly. Now, some men, right? Let me give you guys your little piece. Some men do get child support, but it's extremely rare. I believe it's like 85% of women get child support instead of men, and the government actually gets a piece of it. Mm-hmm. So they actually get a piece of that
It's a
money.
processing
They
fee.
tax it.
Yeah.
They tax child support. Like,
so
bro,
it actually is beneficial for the government to make sure that men are paying child support, right? And then, of course, if you don't pay, then they'll suspend your license. They can put you in jail, right? There's all
a
these.
lot of guys in jail because
There's a lot of. There's a lot of guys in jail for child support. Like, you can throw a rock and hit somebody, and they're gonna be in jail for child support, right? So the numbers that they come up with, I don't like how their calculations are. So you have Kim, who is a billionaire. Is she a
Yeah,
billionaire?
she's a billionaire.
Yeah.
Billionaire. Kanye, who was a billionaire, right? Who maybe he can get this adjusted now. I just don't understand. Like, why does he need to pay child support? Like, I'm not saying that he shouldn't, right? But if I believe that for a person like himself who is actively attempting to be in his children's lives, and I'm sure that he financially takes care of them already anyway, whatever, without having to have the government step in, I don't see why there needs to be a system where he's paying $200,000 a month for child support.
we have to also look at the law in California. Like,
It's the Cali law.
if you get married in California, their laws are much more strict when it comes to child support. That's why Gary Owen, the comedian, if y'all familiar with him, he got divorced from his wife, and he's from Cincinnati and she's from California, and what's that people who like they hand you paper, you've been served, those type of people. So he didn't want to get served at all. And if he got served, it would have been to his detriment and to her benefit, and because the child support laws would have taken place on the count of the California laws. Yeah. But he ended up serving her, and so the child support was a little bit more beneficial because it was in Ohio.
Okay.
Ohio is much more different than California. And so you have to take that into consideration. So him paying $200,000 is insane, but you also got to think, you got married. You should have got that prenup that you was talking about in Gold Digger. You feel me?
Yeah. Like, very, like, okay, if you look at
They did have a prenup.
They did?
Yeah.
if you look at prenup, doesn't have anything to do with child support though, right? Because a prenup is protecting my assets from your assets. So if they got divorced, she can't get them from alimony. They can't split assets. Children are something completely different. Most people, or what people are supposed to do, is get married then have children. So a prenup would not cover them, right? I just don't. Just to me, the numbers just don't make sense. Kim is a billionaire. What does she need $200,000 a month for from Kanye for children that aren't going to see that money? The children aren't seeing that money.
Not only that, there should be a cap on it, because basically the premise is you however much money you make, a percentage of your money has to go to the children. There should be a cap, and it should be low because it doesn't cost that much to take care of children.
And I understand, like, some people, like, in these arguments, they'll say, well, it's not just financially taking care of them. It's also caring for them, time, the stress, yada, yada, yada. But I'm like, I mean, that is not about the child.
No,
that's you,
yeah,
right?
no.
And a lot of that additional stress is based upon the parents. It's about how well the parents work together. But the problem is that you have a lot of women that are bitter in these situations because they're the one usually receiving the child support. And they don't care about the man. They don't care about, well, what he has to do to make the money, yada, 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 right? I mean, and he's still trying to be active. Like, so for example, right, I have a certain amount of money that I pay to my children's mom every month. And in addition to that, I take care of my kids still, right? Like, I buy them all kinds of stuff. Literally, my daughter just hit me up yesterday for Robux. Now,
She always tapping you for Robux.
Well, and now
she
my
tapping you for Robux?
Nah. She hit me for Robux.
like she was like, "Hey, Dad, it's the second. I got my Robux a month ago. Can you look into it?" And I said, "Girl, I just sent you Robux 8 days ago. Literally went into the account, screenshotted it, sent it to her. She was like, "Oh, I didn't realize." Yeah, right. So anyway, I mean, not just that, right? I mean, it's just other just little things. Like, you just do things.
Yeah.
So it's just like,
he's active in his children's lives.
Exactly. That's what. Right. Exactly.
If anything, they're trying to make him less active.
Yeah.
They're punishing him so he doesn't get to see his children or be around his children as much. And they're saying, and because you're not around your children, because we're not letting you, you also got to pay. Why is he paying any child support?
She's a billionaire.
All?
Like, come on.
Like people be like, oh, so what are you saying? He shouldn't have responsibility? Paying child support doesn't equate to responsibility.
It's actually what's supposed to be put into place for people or men that are not taking responsibility.
Right.
So if you decide,
Yeah.
well, I'm not going to be around because the woman basically has no choice, which is not true. She has all the choice, but she said, well, the man leaves. Okay, well, you're on child support because you're not being active.
You're not taking responsibility.
Right. So I have no problem with a man paying child support if he's not active.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if he's not yada, yada, yada.
But if he's actively involved, then it's just like, we don't need child support.
He was literally trying to get his kids to come to the school. Like, he wants to be more involved. So I don't even have a problem with you paying some child support. Like, but when you have people with this type of income, they're both billionaires. Why is he paying child support? Like,
because the government is getting that cut.
They gotta get paid.
Exactly.
It's
It's not about the children. It's not about the parents. It's the government.
And this is the part about Twitter that pisses me off, because it's like people just completely ignore all of those facts. And they're like, what, you saying he shouldn't be responsible for his children? Like, what? No, not at all. We're talking about child support. We're not talking about not being responsible for your children. Child support and children actually don't have anything to do with each other most of the time.
Because most of the time that money's going to the mom or the parent.
And also we also have to like consider that child support is an incentive for women to leave their marriages. Mm-hmm. It's one of the incentives to leave your marriage, because you know that if you leave this man, you're gonna get to take 40% of his income.
Right, child support and alimony.
So it's an incentive. Like, why are we
not
incentivizing this? If you were to say, okay, and when I say you're leaving your marriage, I mean the women are filing for divorce. So if you were to say, hey, whoever files for divorce, they lose leverage over their children, and there's no monetary resources.
I like that.
If you do that, people will stop getting divorced.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You're the one that left, so you don't have the right I won't say the right. You'll lose leverage.
Leverage.
Right.
It's not fair for you to be able to leave me in a marriage and take my kids and take half my money.
That's
Yeah,
Like that's
crazy.
not fair. There's
That is
nothing fair
insane.
about that.
Let's
That's
say
insane.
let's say that the man he's a good man, right? Works hard, works 60 hours a week, owns a business, yada yada yada. Right? He's got 2 children. He's working. You know, she's a stay-at-home mom. Whatever. Boom, boom, boom. Married 10 years. Right? They meet. She has no money. He's got something going on. Right? So then that would mean that he would have to maintain her lifestyle, which would qualify for her alimony, because every marriage isn't like that. So in that situation, he's busy, he's traveling, he's working, he's faithful, yada, yada, yada. But over time, let's say they got married young. She was 19, 20 years old. Now she's 30. When you start getting older, you go through your 20s into your 30s, you start changing. You start seeing life a little different. So now you got 2 kids, you're seeing life a little different. You know, maybe he was a little older, maybe he's 45. Now you want to be with somebody younger. All of a sudden, you just decide, you know what, I'm not happy. I want to do something different. 30 years old, boom, 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 right?
He's never here.
He's
never
never
spends time with
here.
me.
He never spends time with us. I've got the kids all the time. You know, they're 10 and 11 years old now. So she can literally go file for a divorce.
No fault divorce.
No fault divorce. Like, you know, whatever. And then file for child support and alimony. So then she takes 40%, whatever, 50%, whatever, right, of all of his income. She has the kids, so she has her babies, and literally leaves him with nothing.
Nothing.
He has done nothing wrong to her. For 10 years, he's treated her right. He's taken care of her. He's given her 2 children that they both love, but she's just not happy. So then she is able to go and do all this. But if he does it, he gets nothing. And he loses his kids.
Child support lasts past the age of 18,
If
right?
they're in school, I think.
I don't know the specific.
The only reason why I say that is because my mom, she put my pops on child support, and when we were of age or over 18, it was still happening. But we didn't really get anything because I don't think he was working or anything.
Well, that's like 50 Cent. Like 50 Cent was 21, still getting child support, and he was getting the money. Did you guys see that? With
Yeah,
50?
but yeah, like he was getting money.
Yeah,
He was getting money.
Like,
he was getting like $6,500 a month.
I mean, like, bruh, like you don't even have to work.
And he was like, oh, I was like in New York. He was talking about, I forget who it was, but he was like, yo, I'm in New York. Like $6,500 a month. What am I supposed to do with that? How am I supposed to
Get a job.
Am I supposed to start over? He was like, do you mean to tell me that that people out there can then like fix their life and start all over with $6,500 a month? He said, yes. $6,500 a month?
A month,
A month?
bruh, you can flip that.
You can go to Cali with that.
Nah,
Yes, you can.
$6,500 a month?
I
Yes,
wouldn't
you
go.
can.
I wouldn't go to Cali.
You can live in Cali on that.
You
$6,500 a
can,
month?
but you can.
You
but
can
it's
live in
stupid.
L.A.
You live in LA comfortably.
That would be stupid.
Why? I
Because
mean,
the cost of living out there is insane.
but
A
imagine-
1-bedroom home is like $900,000, almost $1 million.
Yeah, but this is
I mean, I get the point, but it's stupid.
you could
21
live
years old.
comfortably. in Cali.
$2,000 for an apartment. It was $2,500 for an apartment. Like that's your biggest bill.
Man,
And then now you'd have an
You
additional
still got
$4,000
$4,000
a
left.
month.
and on top of a job that you can get.
Exactly, correct.
Like if you combine your $6,500 a month on top of a job that you decide you want to get, that's more money. You know, you have so much flexible income.
He's
but,
entitled.
like I would never.
There you go.
Yeah, definitely
Well,
entitled.
because his entire life he was getting
right,
this money.
right, yeah.
Like just move out of New York. Like
Period. He doesn't understand the money.
$78,000 a year on child support.
He doesn't understand money, so it doesn't matter where he moves.
I mean, if you were getting $6,500 a month for as long as you can remember, you wouldn't understand money either.
Right, and whose fault is that?
that's probably his mom's.
His mom's.
Definitely his mom's because
but 50
50.
will
That's
get
what he
blamed.
said. Well, no, that's what he
Oh.
said. He said it's his mom.
It's his mom because he was involved in the child's life. He was trying to be, but now he's listening to the narrative that his mom is painting for him, and now he's in this situation where he doesn't have a good relationship with his father.
can you
Because even when he was younger, he was in like some of the videos and all that
he
stuff.
kept him
You know,
around,
he
of
tried to
course.
be involved. You know, but that's the reason why separating or having the child support system or allowing the courts to dictate what happens in your family or in your household is wrong because it divides the family unit. And oftentimes a lot of women who are bitter and they have these negative feelings towards the men, they keep the child away from the man, and that child grows up having this kind of pain towards the father when this father was trying to be involved, but the mother was keeping him away.
Bruh.
And now the relationship that you could have had, it can't be there anymore because you have these feelings and emotions throughout all these years, man. And that's the sucky thing, especially in the black community. It's just like, don't go to the court system. Don't allow the government, or don't allow any of these entities to tell you what you should and should not do with your family. Like, to me, that is manipulation to its finest.
That's what they want you to do.
Mm-hmm.
They want you. Listen, if he's acting up, come to us. We'll put him on child support.
We'll be your daddy.
We will take care of you.
We got you. Hey, but you make sure you give us. We gonna get a little tax cut out of this.
If you put me, if a man is on child support and they're made to be on child support by the government, you could actually probably get more if he was not doing it by the government, right? Because a lot of men will say, "Oh no, you're getting what you're getting."
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Oh yeah.
this is what you get. Like,
Right.
You decided that you wanted to go do this. I would have been willing to give you more or whatever, but no. So you get it every month. You take care of them. Da da da. It makes the man bitter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like-
well, let's look at a scenario, right? Because we talked about marriage, but let's look at baby mamas, because that's what it was with 50 Cent. If you get pregnant by somebody who is famous or has money, or just a regular guy that maybe has a decent job or whatever, you are incentivized not to marry him. You're incentivized whether you get along with him or not. It has nothing to do with the child. It has nothing to do with legacy, family, or anything. You are incentivized to essentially take the money and do whatever you want. And you're not punished for using the children against this man. You're not punished for lying about anything to get more money. You're not punished at all. You only get incentives, and there's no punishment if you do something wrong, or if you lie or whatever. Of course, there's the few cases where women have been caught doing stuff, but let's look at it like holistically. Women can get away with murder essentially when it comes to this child support stuff. So if the government was really about unifying families and having a stronger base, they would not support. What they would say is, okay, you guys had this child out of wedlock. You need to work it out. You need to come to some type of agreement for 50-50 shared custody, right? You would basically force them, be like, hey, you guys have to create some type of family structure. And if you don't, then you're penalized. You're both penalized if you don't do that. That's what you would do. You wouldn't incentivize one person over the other, So the reality is, when it comes to these justice systems and things of that nature, they give the women all the leverage. They incentivize the dissolution of families and the communities as a whole, which gives them greater leverage over society as a whole, because people have they have no foundation.
Talk about equal rights.
Or tell them you don't get nothing unless you was married. What about that?
I mean, this is a different problem, right? We have all these babies out of wedlock. So if you tell them, hey, if you have a baby out of wedlock, you get zero benefits. You're not eligible for any benefits. You would cut down all of these.
Oh man,
they would definitely have more motive to stay in that relationship.
yeah.
They would have motive to stay in a relationship, but they would also have motive not to have an unplanned pregnancy as well.
Right.
Like women, we're incentivizing women to sleep around, get pregnant. What was the projects that COVID used to live in?
Winter Terrace.
Winton Terrace. I was in Winton Terrace. Okay, these are the projects. I'm in Winton Terrace. There's a little girl. She's all of 16 years old, maybe. And I'm just hearing. I'm walking down the street. I'm just hearing her. Yeah, I can't wait to have my babies. I just want to get them out the way, get this child support. Da 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 da. Shoot, I mean, I'm not gonna call no name, but someone very close to us, their baby mama, talk about child support, how much money they can get for each child they have. Like, they're calculating it. And there's people that are saying, nah, women don't do that, but they live in a different world. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? They don't see what we see. Like, I have watched women calculate the money they get per child and different ways where they can get more. Because people think, and this is where it gets deep. People think, oh, it's just child support. It's let's just say it's 40%. I mean, it's not necessarily, but let's just say it's 40% of a dude's income. That's just one form of welfare. That's just one. Then you talk about food stamps. So you get the cash. There's a lot of programs, and I know because I've listened to these women talk about this. Housing programs where rent's $25. Like, they get a lot of support if they work the system. It's not just the whatever they get from the man. And they don't live great lives. Don't get me wrong. It's not like they out here, living these amazing lives, but they can live for free though.
They do it so they don't have to work.
Right. They don't have to work.
And it's so interesting that you have a lot of people who do that, and they want to stay home, and it's just like, well, you could do the same thing if you actually took care of yourself and then actually like
cooperated with the man.
You were cooperative, you were feminine, and you actually worked on being a better person, and then finding you a quality man, you can get the same thing. And then live a better life.
It'd be a lot better.
If you want to stay at home instead of staying home on welfare and smoking cigarettes and Newports all day, and having trash all over your house and having to shop at dollar store and eat ramen noodles all day, if you would rather live a better life, you can get the same thing. You can stay home, but you can live a better life if you make some changes. But it's too hard to take accountability for your own life, and it's easier to just say, well, I'll just let the government take care of me.
That's why I've always been very selective with the women that I choose, because especially back in the day, like having those scares of like, man, I don't want to get this girl pregnant, because you see the road that people go down. It's just like, man, I do not want to just get any woman pregnant, because you get caught up in that child support system. That's why I'm just like, yo, if I get with a woman and she has my baby, you going nowhere. Yeah. You going nowhere. That ass is mine.
And that's actually crazy, Mel, because the numbers back up what you're saying, because 50% of men in our community are single and childless. So the numbers are actually backing up what you're saying. Men are like,
bro,
we're not getting these girls pregnant.
Yeah.
We're worried.
We are because where the mindset is, and for the women, and the men are showing that, and the numbers say that.
Right. So then what does that also say? The opposite could be true as well. If we decentivize women, then they would be like, whoa, I don't want to get all pregnant now. I'm not getting no benefits. My life's going to be harder.
What it would do is it would then have people put value on them sexually, right? Because right now is devalued. Mm-hmm. I mean, the value. I mean, back in the day, it was hard to get a girl and sex and all this stuff. You had to work. Like you had to put work and effort in.
To have sex?
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm not talking about just some random little. Okay, where I grew up.
Okay.
Okay.
Because you grew up in.
You said in my experience.
Okay.
Right. I grew up in a very different place than you. Where I grew up, you had to, if you weren't her girlfriend, or I'm sorry, if she wasn't your girlfriend, it was a very bad stigma that she was having sex with you. There was a couple girls. I'm not gonna tell them. I ain't gonna put my business out there. But there was a couple girls that had that rap. One of them was my friend.
Like rap?
They had a bad. They had
a bad rap.
They were
Okay.
whatever. Their reputation.
Okay.
And some of them lived up to that, right? But for the most part, girls were like, nah, we're not having sex. They would go to college as virgins. Like, this was a normal thing. But now, obviously, it's not. It's a very uncommon thing. And if we were to change that, like, as Chris was saying, like, number one, if you're not married, you're not getting all these things. You're not. And to me, it seems like for a society that is supposed to be Christian-based, right? America is founded on Christian principles, and it's a Christian, right? Then it would make sense that they would want marriages. Like, we want you guys to be married and that family dynamic.
I think that's evolved. That's evolved to something that's not even normal now.
Right.
Like, you want to get married?
I don't even listen. When I was going to like church and stuff all the time, I never even heard them talk about this stuff. Like, I don't remember ever growing up and hearing about this type of conversation. Well, number one, you didn't talk about sex at all. I mean, that's some of the biggest issues with our community. We don't talk about it. adults don't talk to children about it. And teach them, like, listen, man, don't, my dad would be like, don't be over here having sex with girls. But what he did say was, if you get her pregnant, you gotta marry her. It's like,
that was probably handed down. Do you think?
It's horrible advice.
Yeah, because
you should be looking to get married and then have sex with them, or whatever the case is. Change but don't just marry her because you got her pregnant.
Yeah, I think that's like that old school mentality. Like, if you get her pregnant, you have to marry her.
This is what we were
Yeah, because you see a lot of that stuff in movies, and then that the man will have some kind of resentment, and it's not like a genuine thing. Like, because a lot of times, like, you be on your way out, like, you know what, I'm not with you, and then she be like, I'm pregnant, and you be like, fuck.
Shoot, a lot of times that ain't even coincidence. Women know, okay, he about to dip out.
And so they make sure
they will get pregnant. They're back when we was coming up, that was a thing. Like, people was like, yo, watch out, them girls will get you. Like, it was a thing. They'll get pregnant by you, because if they want to keep you, they will get pregnant by you.
But at the end of the day, man, like, listen, because I can take accountability and for things that I do, but men, at the end of the day, we know that this stuff isn't going to change. We can't ask women to change because they get the incentive. So why would they? So it is our responsibility to then say, well, I'm going to use a condom or I'm going to pull out. Plain and simple. You're not gonna get her pregnant off pre-cum. Ain't no sperm swimming in there. It's just semen. Like, it's just the liquid. There's nothing in it. But we have to do better. But the problem is,
we are doing better. 50% of men are single and childless.
Yeah, but I'm saying,
that's a lot.
Yes, but it could be better.
I mean, okay. I guess.
A quick question before we wrap up here. Do you all think hold on, let me had the question written out properly. Do you all think that body count for men and women matter? Like, for how many people that they slept with? Do you think that those matter?
We're talking my personal opinion, or are we talking in general?
Let's do general.
Okay, so in general, I think it matters.
For women?
It matters for women. It matters for women, biologically speaking. Women. I like to use the Twilight movie, the vampire movie.
Okay.
With the werewolf and all that, and with the werewolves, they would imprint on people. They would imprint on other people or whatever creatures, and once they imprint on you or vice versa, that's it. That's who they love. That's who they always gonna love. It's like falling in love, and you just get to one chance to fall in love, and you imprint. And with women, when you have sex and those chemicals are released, they basically makes you attached. It makes a woman attached to you, and then the more people they have sex with, the less effective that attachment is. Women are designed to be attached to men. That's why they get so attached after sex. Men aren't. We don't have that. That's why we don't be so attached. And the purpose is biological. It's natural. So, women traditionally need men, right? So you would want to be under a man. You would want to be under a man's leadership and under his covering. And so there's biological things that just help to facilitate that. And nowadays, because women are having sex with so many different men, they're losing some of those natural instincts or those chemicals that would bind them to men. And they're sleeping with a lot of different men. And then, of course, we're seeing women getting bored with guys. Like, if you think about women from when we were younger, like high school age, when you kiss them, when you give them any attention, all they think about is you. They're not thinking about no other dude. You don't even have to sleep with them. When they were younger, when they were virgins, or when they had a very small body count, or maybe you were the only person they ever been with. That's the reason why men would be like, don't ever sleep with a virgin, because they will get attached to you. That's why. And women don't know that as much, but older men would teach us like, yo, you don't want to sleep with no virgin. Where'd that information come from? You think they just made it up? No, it's because women literally would get attached, and they're like, you don't want them problems. but nowadays it's not like that, right? They're 30 years old. That's gone. You sleep with a woman. You sleep with a woman, and they'll never talk to you again. They can do that real easy. So then what happens when that woman finally does find a man that they deem worthy or whatever the case may be, and then they're with them for 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years, and now all of a sudden they're bored. They want another man. And I think that's one of the biggest issues. Men, we're not like that. We can sleep with one woman and be just as attached to a woman, whether we've been with 100 women or one woman. Like it's a different. We get attached based off of different things. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's a difference. Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I think I'm gonna have an unpopular opinion.
All right, well, shit, let's hear it. I love unpopular opinions.
I personally think it matters for both people, and I say that purely coming and looking at it from a more like spiritual sense. I don't know my body count. I mean, and a lot of that is because, you know what I'm saying, you know, back in the day, man, I used to drink, man.
We need to get you a shirt.
I know.
I used to drink.
I used to drink with Steve's confused face on it.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, back in the day, you know what I'm saying? You just go out and hit the bars, you know what I'm saying? People be like, you ever had a one-night stand? I'm like, one. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So, but what through my growth, like, spiritually, I've learned that, as Chris stated, when it comes to women biologically getting attached and talking about vampires and them imprinting on you, I mean, that is
sound like Herschel Walker out here.
I mean, that is a book, but I mean, spiritually, it's true. Like, you literally take a piece of every person that you are with intimately. It's the reason that we're not supposed to be with a lot of people, men and women. Now, do I think that men can have sex with 1,000 women and then still fall in love with one woman and say, oh, that's my baby? Like, you know what I'm saying? Then yes, I do. Do I think that women can do that? No, I don't. Right? And it just shows in our world, like in our life. Women that have less body counts or less bodies, or they're easier. It's easier for them to stay connected. It's called pair bonding, right? Where you have the ability to connect emotionally and attach to a mate. And this has been proven. This isn't just talking. There's some studies on this, and I believe that it's something that is more recent that has been talked about. But women who have lower body counts have an easier time of actually pair bonding or making an emotional connection.
Imprinting, that's
to men, or imprinting. And that body count does not affect men, right? But so I agree with you on that. Mm-hmm. But where like I said, disagree or have the unpopular opinion is that spiritually you will hold onto a piece of every person that you have sex with. Mm-hmm. And there is a level of taintedness or I don't know, whatever, that piece of them stays with you. So if that person is narcissistic or if they have problems, you will take some of that. Now, it may not show up, right? It may not show in you in some way where you think it will, but I mean, you take water, and you have pure water, and then you just add little droplets and little droplets and little droplets over time, and it's just a little bit of something. By the time that fills up to this top jar, it's all mix and match. You have no idea what it is, right? It's just like when a person loses weight. Like, when they lose weight and they lose it slowly over time, it's very difficult to tell what's actually happening, right? It's easier to tell when it happens more quickly. So people that get like weight loss surgery, they oh my God, right? They see you in a month and they get surgery and, you know, boom, boom, boom. But over time, you people don't really notice. So when you have sex with 1,000 people or whatever, maybe for some it's 20 people, whatever, then over time, if you just don't detox or get rid of that piece that they left you, then by the time you're 50, 60, 70, 80 years old, you're just a myriad of a bunch of people.
A collection of people.
A collection of other people. I mean, literally for women, also biologically, it has been shown that they literally have biological changes DNA is left in them after sex with a man, even if they didn't come in them. DNA. Like literally, you have cells, skin cells, bacteria that is on you. And you put that inside of somebody. And as a man, you go inside of somebody and you take that from them. So all of her secretions, all of her juices, all of her goodness, whatever, you pull out and it's on you. Your skin is made to absorb. So you are absorbing the things that you are in that are around you. So biologically, yeah, there's changes that happen, and on a spiritual sense, then yeah, it matters.
I
So-
think that when I think back to my experiences with women, like my first time losing my virginity, and the situation didn't go the way
Never forget your first, man.
the situation didn't go the way I wanted to. I was just like, "Where you going? Where you going, girl? Don't leave me!" You know, that's probably like the biggest heartbreak that I've experienced. You know, but then I'll look back at some women who were a lot more, I guess, loose in a sense. They were some savages, man.
Savages.
You know, they became savages, and they were basically damaged goods in a sense. Like a lot of them, like I want to say names, but I'm not going to say names. But like, there's a lot of women that I know that who sleep with a lot of people, and the women that I used to be in relationships with, and I see how they are now. And like you would see the different relationships that they would post on maybe Facebook, and you see all these different men that they're with, and it's just like, oh man, this relationship didn't last that long. It's over. And
dating somebody new.
yeah, and then just like every different month or something, they're dating somebody
Got 3 kings a year.
completely different, and then
my
they end up
king.
having children with, you know, it's just like you can see the brokenness that happens the more that they sleep with someone, you know. So yeah, I definitely feel that it's a that the more women sleep with, I mean, as you all both stated, you know, the more you sleep around, it's going to be harder for you to have a genuine connection with one person, since, you know, you have that experience, man. It's just like that first initial shock, you know, then you get used to it, and it's just like, okay, we just doing this. This is just what we doing, you know. So,
I want to push back on Steve a little bit.
all right, push back. Let's do it. Gravity.
When we look at nature, we do see women or females, you know, pair bonding with men, right? That are males. That's what we see. We don't see men or males in nature grabbing one female and sticking with her for the rest of their life. That's a human construct, as best I can tell. So that must mean that we're not equal in how we attach to each other, whether it's biological or spiritual. So while I agree with you that yes, you know, you take on from other people when you have sex with them, it's almost assumed that that's always a bad thing. Like if I sleep with an amazing woman, and I sleep with 2 amazing women, and I sleep with 3 amazing women, and I'm taking on these amazing women, wouldn't that just make me more amazing? Like, why do we always talk about this you're sleeping with all these people and you're taking on, okay, is it always bad? Like, is that just the assumption that we're taking on only bad? And if that's the case, then we're taking on the bad from our wife when we sleep with her. Like, it's always from this negative connotation. There's no balance in this. So if we could take on bad, that means we could take on good. So if I'm making good decisions with who I sleep with, whether it's 50 people or 1 person, I should also be able to take on good as well. And then also, you know, you have the spiritual or emotional detox. You can detox from people, which I wouldn't say that most people know how to necessarily do that, but I'm just saying you could do that. But I think men are built differently. I think men or males are built to be with multiple partners. I think that women are not. You know?
I agreed with you on that.
Right, but I'm saying like,
Your pushback is saying that you should be able to take.
if you could take on bad, you could take on good. And
See,
why
I
does
don't-
nobody ever talk about the good that you could take on from the women that you sleep with?
I've
Or the men that-
definitely taken on the good
I
of a
don't-
lot of women that I've been with.
I
I mean,
don't
I
think that
ain't
you
out in the streets
can-
like that, but
I don't believe that we determine any of that. Like, I don't think that we determine any of that. And it's I don't think that you, like, the average person knows. So, I mean, Chris, you make a good point. I don't know. Do we take on I don't think that we choose.
Do you,
I've never heard anybody say, "Well, when you sleep with someone, you know you take on good traits from them." It's always there's always a negative connotation.
Yeah, I mean, I think that
do you think that you've taken on any good from the people that you've slept with or been with at all?
I've never thought about it in that way.
Because I mean, personal experience.
So are you?
I feel like I have.
So here's my thing. I think that there's a difference between a relationship and then you learning something positive from that person through the relationship, and then after the relationship, there's something good that you take. Like that is an actual learning experience, and there's things that you're learning on a physical and an emotional stance. You can take things away from that. The answer would be yes. But just from a sexual encounter, how would you know?
Well, how would you know you're taking on something bad?
I'm saying that you take on a part of them. I didn't say bad.
That's correct, but the connotation is that it's a bad thing.
I said
which is why you would say don't sleep with a lot of people, right?
Yes,
because if the connotation was it was good, then you say sleep with more people.
Well, let me ask you a question. Do you think that it would be better to have if you were going to make yourself a salad, right? Let's say that you're the romaine in that salad, right? Okay, well, you add tomatoes, maybe you add some cucumbers, you add some seasonings on it, right? You mix it up, and then it's good, okay? You'd say that's a good salad. All right, but then let's just say that you're the romaine, but then you add tomatoes, then you add mushrooms, and then you throw in some strawberries, and then you add pickles, and then you add hot peppers, and you add cayenne, and then you add beef into it, and then some tuna, and then you add mayonnaise. Like, and you just add all this stuff, and it's just like, wait a minute. What is this now?
Cobb salad. People love it.
Okay, well, you're talking about the original salad. The original salad that I gave you was like 5 ingredients, right? But then when you now go from 5 ingredients to 100 ingredients, as we talked about food earlier, that salad is no longer a salad anymore. That salad is no longer probably good, even though all those ingredients on their own probably would be delicious. In a small mix, they'll probably be good. But when you mix them all with all these 100 ingredients, even though they're all good on their own, it's not going to be a good mix together. So that's the way that I see it.
And that's a good analogy, except for the fact that the human experience is based on a full spectrum of...
You sound like one of them gender studies people talking about spectrums.
It's based on a full spectrum of emotion and experience and everything of that nature. I believe that variety is the spice of life.
But you're also coming from the sense of, and Mel was saying, like, basically, you're talking about someone that you have been with, but you're talking like this person, or this is a relationship. Like, I mean, I'm talking about just if you're sleeping with hundreds of thousands of people, thousands is a lie.
You keep saying 1,000 people. I'm just like, yo, who keeps sleeping with thousands?
I don't know. I watched the thing with Blueface was talking about he slept with 1,000 women last month.
Well, like 1,000 people.
Month.
Yeah, they was like, yo, like, what's your body count? He was like 1,000. And they were like, wow, in your whole life, 1,000 women. They were like, no, I was like last month. I don't know.
That's a lie.
It's probably a lie. But hundreds.
You didn't even that's never. How many women in a day is that?
Yeah, it's a lie.
That's a lot.
It's clearly a lie.
Cap.
But if you have hundreds, you're not in hundreds of relationships. These are just women that you're spending time around. You don't know them. So I would agree with you if these are relationships. So Mel said, there's things that I've taken, but I don't believe you're taking them from sex. I think that you're taking them from learning the person. Like my last, it wasn't a relationship, girl I was dating, there's some positive things I took from her. Learning how to be more present. Like that was one thing that she was upset with me about, because I was always paying attention to my phone or something else. Right? So I can't say that I got that because I had sex with her. That was our connection. That was from learning her as a person. But just sex.
There has to be.
But you assume that you got something bad from just sex, because that was what you were.
It's not that I assumed it was something.
That's what you were saying.
I did not say that it was bad.
That was your implication.
That's the way you took it.
That's how you said it, because you warned against doing it. Why are you warning against doing something good?
The same analogy I gave the salad, I gave with this, because when you just continue to add, even if they're good on their own, it may not be good to mix them all together.
Or it may be good to mix it.
Or in
Or
what
you
world?
could get a Cobb salad.
In what world is
What I'm saying is, who's determining how many different things you can add before it becomes bad? Who's making that determination?
Okay, well, I mean, I gave you two different examples. If I have water, or if I take soda or anything, if you add too many things to it, it's no longer good. It's not going to taste good. The flavors are muddy.
I mean, it depends. You got Diet Dr. Pepper. It's pretty good. It's got like 30.
It just depends on your taste. It depends on what you like to taste.
I don't
Would
think
you
it's
would
that
you
clear
say
and
that
cut
would
to
you
say
say that a
that-
food that has 100 ingredients is going to be a good food? Or would you look at that food?
Depends on what the ingredients are.
It depends on how they mingle together. Yeah, of course.
What food has 50 ingredients that you say?
Well,
is
you're
good?
probably talking about a dish, because if you're talking about an actual food, then it's processed, and that's a trick question. But if you're putting together a salad and you could put all these different ingredients in it, you could have 30 or 40 spices. That's different foods. That's different.
You think putting 30 spices in a salad is going to taste good? 30 spices.
I don't know.
I understand the point you're trying to make, but I think that you're
KFC has how many spices
8.
in their chicken?
8.
How many ingredients are in Dr. Pepper?
Like 38.
It's a lot of ingredients, man.
Okay, so 38. I think that we're all over 38.
I
think
mean,
that we're okay
I
with
mean,
that.
but
I
the
said
point. But,
hundreds.
I mean, you're saying astronomical numbers to make your point. That's
It's not-
Like,
I'm not- that's not astronomical.
I don't think most.
You think
people,
30?
I
You
don't
think
think most.
50 is a-
I don't think most people are having sex with hundreds of people.
Okay, not hundreds. I
think most people have sex with less than 100 people.
I think that I've made my point, and I believe, and I think the salad in the water, where I think I gave two great examples,
And I think
of
I
how
gave you some
adding-
great pushback.
How okay,
And I appreciate all that. So let's put a button on it because this can go on forever.
you the one that brought it up. and
I
you
know
also-
it. I got a football game to
And
watch.
you also didn't even tell us about men.
Huh?
You gave one side. You said, "Yeah, I think it's not good for women to have sex with a bunch of people."
Well, a
What
lot
about
of
men?
times when I try to speak, y'all kept going. So I just
No,
said,
it was your
flesh out
turn.
your
You
thought.
stopped.
no. Well, okay, that's fine.
Play this,
Play it
back.
back. You'll see. You stopped.
I always give people, if I cut you off, I say I'm sorry, but
There's times where I tried to say, plenty of times I tried to speak on something that you all kept going. I was like, all right, I'm just done because I got to watch a football game. But yeah, hey, y'all got some great points, man. You know what I mean?
You still didn't give your feedback about men.
how many? Can men have multiple women?
And we'll talk about that next week.
Well,
See, this is why we get the hate.
Right.
Because we will give all of us, and
Yeah.
then Mel just
Okay, you know
Mel
what?
just sits
Okay,
there.
turn it off. Cut it off. Cut the tape. Editor, cut the tape.
This is okay. All right, men. Does it matter how many women that men sleep with?
or men that men sleep with.
Nah.
It's sexual partners, right, Steve?
Nah.
Do you take on DNA of men for men too? Don't you?
I don't know nothing about that,
It's actually
bruh.
worse.
I don't know nothing about that, bruh. I mean, but if y'all seen that Bill Burr special, you know, shit, it'd probably be better if men sleep with men, right? But nah, I don't do men. But men sleeping, I think. I kind of, you know what? I feel, but men sleeping with a lot of women, I feel like it can be damaging. I feel like it can be, it probably won't be as damaging since men are, you know, women typically have control over who they, you know, allow sleep with them. And so if they allow the man to have control over them to have sex, you know, it's kind of like, okay, you know, you did this. This is your thug thizzle. But also, just speaking from experience, I personally try to limit how many women that I sleep with, you know, like I need a connection with them. And even if it's like some women that I had a past connection with, and if I try to sleep with them now, it's not the same, and so I won't do it. You know, like I won't get aroused at all. I need a connection.
You're a very specific type of person.
Yeah, and so
That is not true for me. Yo.
like I mean you're familiar with the person, but it's just like I recently had this experience where I'm just like, this doesn't feel the same.
Oh, somebody tried to come back.
Does it depend on the experience you had with that person when you guys ended it though? Because like
No.
said the connection.
It's all about where we currently are, not the past, because the past is done. But where we currently are, if there's not a certain amount of affection that's given, I just won't be able to get in.
Okay.
You know, I need a connection with some kind of affection, you know. So me personally, I would need that connection. And so I would say the more that you sleep with someone and there's some kind of damage there, you know, or if it's just not the same, I feel like there will be a difference, you know. But I feel like it's worse for the women since, you know, you're going in, you know.
I'm gonna end it with this. I'm gonna end it this
Let me
week
say you get the last say.
because Steven, I don't want to go back and forth with you. Okay.
You're the one that.
Oh, y'all doing it now.
I didn't come at
Oh, they're
you.
doing it now.
I want to give Steve a little pushback.
If you, yeah, the podcast needs it. If you take a woman and you take a man and they both get to pick potential partners, right? Or I don't even like saying partners, but husbands or wives. And the woman can pick a man who has a certain status and certain resources that we would consider to be, 10% or 1%. Does she care about that man's body count? You take the same man who can pick a woman, the woman he wants, and of course, she's got the looks and all the things that men want. Does he care about the body count? Who cares more? I think every time you'll find that the woman cares less than the man. If a man can choose, he's going to choose a woman that has less body count.
Right.
And then the thing that I like people say, they say, if you have a lock and any key can be used to open this lock, it's a faulty lock. If you have a key that can open up any lock, it's called a master key. That's the difference between men and women. We are not the same. We're not equal, and that's just what it is.
I don't
double standard.
I
Yeah.
agree with that statement.
I like that, Steve.
I also. There's also ramifications to this. It's not like there's no harm done. But I agree with your statement.
I'm not saying that there isn't.
Okay. All right, we're good. I appreciate it.
Minimal harm, not as much harm.
It's
Inconsequential harm.
I didn't say that.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, make sure y'all are aware of who y'all sleep with. You know what I mean? Get that master key if you can. But if not, hey, watch on that door. Watch that door lock. You feel me? Chris James, Stephen Michael, I am Animated Male. Make sure y'all subscribe, and we will see y'all next time. Holla for $1, $1, for $1.